By far, the most common question we get asked as astronauts is how do you go to the bathroom in space?
Going to the bathroom in space is something that you have to get used to.
Now this is one, wouldn't you say this is like the deepest, darkest secret about spaceflight?
Here we are, at the throne.
So imagine if you have a vacuum cleaner and you're sucking things down.
Peter Fonda in Easy Rider riding a chopper.
This is an Apollo fecal bag.
But you see it's pretty small, so you have to have pretty good aim.
How do you go to the bathroom in 0G?
Sometimes things get a little out of control if you are out of control yourself flying around,
So you want to make sure you know what you're doing when you go to the toilet.
Even today, most of us think of people who go to space as heroes, and in many respects it's true. Riding rockets is a dangerous business, and the environment you're traveling into is absolutely hostile to human life. The dangers are very real, especially during the early days of the space program when so little was known. As amazing as it all is, at the end of a long day unlocking the secrets of the universe, you still have to attend to all the normal things like personal hygiene, eating, and sleeping. At times, living in space can be pretty mundane. Of course, there is a reality that has to be faced. If you're eating in space, you're going to have to deal with the end result of that. Eventually, you will have to boldly go where no man or woman has gone before. For the single-man Mercury spacecraft, the solution was to simply do nothing. The flights were so short, the engineers felt there would be no need. What they didn't take into account was how long an astronaut might spend on the pad before the mission even got started. Alan Shepard, the first American to fly in space, showed how wrong this approach was when he simply had to let go in his suit while he waited for the go to launch. For the balance of the Mercury program, simple systems using collection bags were devised to avoid a repeat of Shepard's predicament. With the onset of the Gemini program, with its longer duration missions, a better solution had to be found. An advanced urine collection system was designed that allowed the stuff to be dumped overboard during the flight, with a small amount being saved for study back on Earth. Solid waste wasn't so easy to deal with. Even though all the food was low residue, during a multi-day mission you couldn't avoid it. Defecation was going to happen. The solution was a specially designed plastic bag with an adhesive rim to collect and contain the waste, which then had to be stored on board for the remainder of the mission. This all happened in a spacecraft that housed 2 astronauts in a space no larger than the front seat of a classic Volkswagen Beetle. Heroic indeed. As we moved into the Apollo program, you'd think that things would have improved, but the truth is, our moon-bound heroes used pretty much the same systems that were used in Gemini. Although because of the larger spacecraft volume, they did have a bit more privacy when it came time to accomplish the task. If that seems to turn the Apollo command module into a flying men's room, you're not far from the truth. For launch, EVAs, and the moonwalks, things were a bit more internal. You couldn't just get out of the suit during these activities, so the urine collection system was inside the garment, to be drained later. With the addition of the fecal containment system, basically a fancy NASA-designed diaper, our intrepid moonwalkers were ready to go forth and make history. Beginning with the first crewed mission to the Skylab space station in 1973, American astronauts finally had a working space toilet that would be the predecessor of all space potties to come. Liquid waste was collected the way it always was, but the method for handling solid waste was new. Airflow was used to direct the solid waste into a porous bag for containment. Liquid waste was still dumped overboard, but all of the solid waste was brought back to Earth so the doctors could study it. It's worth noting that the Russian Soyuz spacecraft had a space toilet that used the same airflow principle all the way back in 1967. Another Russian first in space. With the advent of the space shuttle, things got a lot more refined. Instead of a hole in the wall or a plastic bag, the shuttle had an actual bathroom with privacy curtains and a door that could be closed when not in use. It was more sophisticated than any space toilet that had come before, with a long list of instructions to match. It still used the proven airflow design to get the waste going where it needs to go. That is, down into the system and not cartwheeling across the middeck. Now this is where the fan comes in. Actually, it's called the Slinger and spins at 1500 RPM. Its job is to sling the waste onto the walls of the container where it sticks and compacts. After the deed is done, the toilet is sealed and exposed to the vacuum of space. This freeze-dries the waste, rendering it inert and hopefully less aromatic. As a side note, when the Space Shuttle toilet was under development, they used dog food for testing. As any dog will know, its stickiness and texture are very close to the real thing. The shuttle toilet also had to accommodate mixed crews. It didn't matter for solid waste, but for liquid waste, each crew member, male or female, had their own plastic funnel for liquid waste that was personally optimized in size and shape for best results. Who says NASA doesn't take good care of you? The waste management facility on board the International Space Station is very similar in function to the shuttle system. The major difference is they did away with the Slinger and replaced that with a micro-perforated plastic bag. The downside is the astronaut might have to don a glove and pack down the waste if the bag is getting a little full. The upside, when you're done, the bag with the waste is removed and packed into an automated cargo ship that eventually suffers a fiery end as it burns up in the atmosphere, taking all the trash with it. Keep that in mind next time you see a super bright shooting star. It might just be your favorite astronaut heroes saying hello.